There were many periods where Ashkenazi Jews and the press and literature actually related to Sephardic Jewry, mostly in medieval Spain, but even in contemporary life, much more than they do today. And but for the most part, only Jews who have the language Judeo-Spanish that evolved in the diaspora, but was also in North Africa, primarily in Morocco, they're the ones who are Sephardim. Okay? There are Syrian Jews, for example, who were Sephardic, who became Judeo-Arab Jews, but that wasn't the dominant trend. Most of the Sephardim became Judeo-Arabic Jews. Of Moroccan Jewry, most of the Jews originally have an indigenous Berber culture. The first expulsion wasn't in 1492, the first events were in 1391, so you have a base of Sephardic Jewry in Morocco since those riots in places like Fez. So you do have, they don't have, in the prayer style, in the minhag, in the prayer rites, they have a lot of Sephardic features. They don't speak the language anymore, they don't have a Judeo-Spanish culture anymore throughout Morocco, for example. Only in the north of Morocco, in Spanish Morocco, like in Tetuan or Tangier or Melilla. There are hardly any Jews in Melilla. Most of those Jews went to Caracas. Some are in Spain today, or in Gibraltar. But, so, the Jews who were defined as all the others by the Zionist movement, those are the Sephardim. But Jews from the Balkans who are really part of the Judeo-Spanish heritage don't consider all those other Jews as Sephardim, and they're sort of irritated because they have an Arab culture. You can't, young political intellectuals who are Mizrahi, who are Eastern in Israel, make an issue of how they're outcasted because of their Eastern origin. Okay? So they've politicized the term Mizrahi also. The cultural or political establishment in Israel usually won't use the term Mizrahi, they'll say Sephardic, meaning all the others. But for example, Mizrahi cannot exactly encompass all these different various groups cohesively. The Russian Aliyah is about 40% Eastern and not Ashkenazi, okay, from Central Asia. And most of those Jews and the Jews of Iran and Afghanistan originally come from a Persian Jewish culture. They don't consider themselves Mizrahi. They don't identify and affiliate with the Moroccan Jews. So it's sort of a different phenomenon. So if you say Mizrahi, the Jews of Persian culture, which may number 500, 550, 600,000 in Israel, and maybe 30,000 in Los Angeles, and another 10,000 in New York, they don't want to be labeled as Mizrahim. But in English, if you're saying Eastern Jew, it may have a more neutral connotation. But if you say Mizrahi in Israel, the connotation is someone who has an agenda because they've been done over by the Ashkenazi establishment and they're on the fringe. And in brushing over the issues of Israeli society, the Mizrahim are the ones who really have not been acculturated until this day. You already have 4 generations of poverty, particularly from southern Morocco, and they're included also in the Shas phenomenon, but you can't generalize. And in terms of poverty in the statistics and the new poor that Bibi created, when he took away the subsidies, many of these are Mizrahim. So as the 18 richest Israeli families get wealthier and wealthier, and they get wealthier opportunities given to them by Netanyahu and Barak and all sorts of political leaders, and the middle class is dwindling, you have a rising poor class. So when I left Israel, there were about 1 million poor Jews. Now there are 1.6 million. Okay? This means anywhere from really not having food to living in decrepit conditions. Whereas most of these people were middle class, now there's a new poor class. In the last war in Israel, maybe there were 1 million people put out of their homes, and those, primarily Mizrahim, who had no options, who couldn't even get to the middle of the country, they were stuck in the bomb shelters.
Is anyone starving in Israel?
Yeah.
Truly?
Yeah. Yeah. Israel has about 30,000 non-profit organizations that give out food and other items in the absence of governmental responsibility or accountability. You know, the figure 30,000, it could be exaggerated in terms of food organizations, but it's a pretty severe situation. And American Jewry doesn't catch it at all.
What did you find when you came to Pico Robertson? Tell me about the Jewish life and the synagogues and the culture. And
I was shocked positively. Because I thought there'd be a few Ashkenazim. I knew that there were Iranians here. According to my estimates, I think there's got to be 120, 130,000 Jews that live in Pico Robertson. Many are the majority modern Orthodox. I've counted 68 synagogues. Less than 10 are Ashkenazi. The rest are Sephardim Mizrahi. I was stunned by the French Aliyah to Los Angeles. We have a lot of Jews of North African extraction who now have left France and come to Los Angeles. Maybe it's the Hollywood dream, maybe it's nice weather, maybe they were attracted to an affluent society. It's a totally new phenomenon. I didn't realize there were so many Israelis in Los Angeles, and even in Pico Robertson. And you can't really tell by just who you meet on the street, but if you read the Israeli press here and the magazines, there's a huge Israeli population here, much beyond the 250,000 Israelis who have ever registered at the Israeli consulate since the creation of the State of Israel. And I mean, I would put the figure probably around 700,000
Israelis in Los Angeles.
Yeah. More than the regular figure of 650,000 for the general Jewish population. And it's known that a lot of these people are illegal. They're holding out just to get better opportunities. Ask the question, why are they here? Because they don't have the opportunities in Israel. They don't have any possibility for upward mobility. They don't have possibilities to get in. Israel is a very inbred society. So I'm surprised at the French Jews that are here, the amount of Israelis. Persians I know that are here. What I'm astounded by is the wealth of Persian Jews. I didn't realize that even the poorest Jews from Iran, like in Shiraz, they now have a culture where they are excessive about $5,000 Gucci purses. Okay, this is absolutely pathetic. It's shown how they've become affluent, but you know, I met a poor boy. He only deals with real estate, a Persian boy, and a woman doesn't want to marry him because he can't buy her that kind of stuff. She, on her own, bought 4 Gucci purses. You know, I mean, this is just horrendous. To have a culture based on this, there's a whole shtick. How a Persian Jewish woman walks into an event and puts her Gucci purse down on the table for people to see. Okay? This is what I've discovered in Los Angeles. And believe me, these people hardly give to charity. Okay? They might give once and they make a big noise, but they don't have a tradition of giving continuously and to a lot of organizations that need it.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Now I'll tell you something more audacious. I came here with a friend during the war 2.5 years ago for a food fund. It's called Kav Chesed. We raised money for almost 10,000 families on a regular basis to get food throughout Israel in 170 locations. Most of the food funds are active in